Hi, today we're going to look at a video around if you're thinking of adopting a child with special needs. And of course, special needs just have so many different levels, from the higher level disabilities where a child definitely won't be able to live independently and they might be life limiting disabilities, to additional needs where they're just going to need a little bit of extra support. So today I'm going to try to cover as best I can all of those possibilities by exploring with you, first of all, the positives around doing this, and also not the negatives exactly, but things that you might need to think about if you're looking to go down that route. My name is Nyree and I have two adopted sons, and they are 11 and 12, and we've had them since they were 2 and 3. And when we first adopted them, we knew that there were going to be issues. We knew that there were going to be things that we needed to explore with them because they were severely neglected. And they were also both premature, and you could tell from when they came into us as foster children that without any speech at the age of 2 and 3, and they were quite a significant way behind. And we were questioned when we finally adopted them a few years ago, about how we would feel if they weren't going to make it through some of the things that our 5 birth children had managed to achieve. And that was a challenge to us as we were thinking about whether our boys were ever going to be able to live independently, and we still don't know whether they would be able to. And we're going through assessments now to see what the real issues are with them and where those development issues lay behind and what we can do to support them. Now, for some of you, you might look at profiles that you know there's a disability there, and that might be a disability that is a significant one. It has a label, it has a name, and you know what you're dealing with. For others of you, you might consider taking on a child with developmental needs, but it might be unresolved, as in you don't actually know what it is at the moment. You know that they're with the foster carers and they need extra support, help, equipment to help them through, but you don't actually know what it's going to look like in a few years' time. And I suspect for many of you that will be the case. You may look at a profile or some information where there's an indication that the child is struggling, is behind a little bit, it's got certain speech and language issues, and there is an indication that it's maybe going to be something to question and look at in the future. Sometimes, of course, a profile will literally say there is a genetic condition or there is a diagnosis, and therefore you know what you're taking on. Now, for those of you who are thinking and opening up your minds to special needs, additional needs, disability, we kind of need to put it all under the same banner, then I just hold my hat up to you, or put my hands out to you and say, it's amazing to open up your mind and to start considering that there are children out there that really need you as an adopter, and they may not fit the perfect profile of a child, but they are just as deserving of having a life, a happy life, and a family within a family. The first things to think about, I think, the positive things, shall we say, are when a child has extra issues and difficulties and disabilities, I think that they want to make a bond with you and they want to be loved. And a lot of those children, I know this is generalizing a lot, do give out a huge amount of love and receive a huge amount of love. Particularly those with the more severe disabilities, actually, you can often see how quickly they respond to a touch, a look, a voice of somebody that they love, and they give a lot back. And it does break your heart, doesn't it, sometimes, when you know that for many of these children, they're going to be hard to place and they're not going to find a family, and they may have to stay in long-term foster care, which is not a problem. Foster carers are amazing people, and they may well happily stay in foster care and be happy with who they're with, but of course they don't get the same rights as they do if they're adopted into a full family unit. It's great to consider these children because they do give a lot of love, and in the same way you're going to feel like you're receiving a lot of love and you can give a lot of love. The other thing, of course, is quite empowering, isn't it, to think that perhaps you're going to consider a child that lots of other adopters won't consider. And it will be less competitive matching probably, and it's quite empowering to think that you are opening your mind and getting rid of your stereotypes and starting to think outside of the box to care for a child that maybe nobody else is going to put themselves forward for. Another good thing as well is that you're likely to be upskilled. So unless you're already a nurse or you're someone who's dealt with the particular type of disability or additional need or special need, then you're going to be upskilling yourself, because you're likely to be attending training. And if you're not, you're going to be on the job looking after the child. So there probably isn't going to be anybody that can tell you any more about that condition than you if you're looking after the child. So that's a great thing too. And surely another great thing is, because we all take things for granted so much, our own health, what we have available, and our skills and what we can do in life. And it's surely going to make you appreciate things more when you see a child that struggles in a certain area, and make you grateful for the little things, make you grateful that you can walk, that you may be able to earn, you may be able to live a full life, and it's just going to make you more grateful. The negative things then, or not the negative things, but the things that you just need to take into consideration is you need to be strong. And if it's a physical disability, you need to be strong physically, because you may well have to do some lifting. It may be more physically demanding. You may well have to get up in the middle of the night a lot. There will be extra hospital appointments for sure, or extra professional appointments. So it's going to be busier. And I guess that leads me on to the other thing, is you would need to have more time than your average adopter. Depending on the level of care the child needs, you're going to need to be able to put aside enough time and know that you have enough time. And for some children, you may actually almost be dedicating your whole life to that child if they're never going to live independently. So if you know they have a debilitating condition or life limiting, or they're going to always need physical help, then you're giving your life over, and you have to really count the cost for that. You may be 30 now and that might work fine for you, but you will end up being 52 like me, and then it gets a little bit harder. So you have to think then about whether your support network can be there for you, to support you, to give you respite and give you weekends off so that you can recuperate and recover. And unbelievably, and we found this ourselves, you often have to fight for what you want for your child. It wouldn't matter, I don't think, how severe the disability is. It just seems to be that we all think that disabled children or children with special needs get a lot of help, and they get funding from everywhere, the equipment's provided, the professionals are there. Well, that's not our experience. And for what I've seen of adopters that are having to deal with higher level disability, it's not everybody else's experience either. You really have to be a very strong advocate for your child and get what they need, and that might well mean trying to fight for funding and fight for equipment and fight for support. So therefore you've got to be a pretty resilient person to go through with it and to know that you're going to be the right person for that child. So guys, I hope that makes you think that possibilities are out there, and that you can look at a child that may have a disability, additional need, or a special need, whatever you want to call it, and look at that child as not having those things, but look at that child as the right match for you, and for you to give them the fullness of life, and forget about those things and just give them the quality of life that they deserve at whatever level they're at. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe, check out my channel. On there's already a video on autism and a video on fetal alcohol syndrome, and there are other videos looking at diagnosis and videos of that nature. See you on my channel.